3.8 is just a few days away, and so is the rerun for Firefly. Today I'm taking you over everything you do need to know in order to build her and also use her, including a overview on her kit, her best Lightcones, best relic sets, and best Planar ornaments, the main stats you want to run on the relic sets, substat priorities, and also some team building ideas. Starting it off with her base kit, her basic attack deals fire damage based off Sam's attack to a designated enemy. Her skill consumes 40% of this unit's max HP and regenerates a fixed amount of energy equal to 60% of max energy, then deals fire damage based off Sam's attack to a designated enemy. If the current HP is not sufficient, it will reduce Sam's HP to 1, and when using this skill, it advances this unit's next action by 25%. Her ultimate lets her enter the complete combustion state, which will advance this unit's action by 100% and gain an enhanced basic attack and enhanced skill. In complete combustion, you have an increase of speed of 60. Using enhanced skill or enhanced basic attack will increase this unit's break efficiency by 50% and break damage dealt by Sam to enemy targets by 20%, lasting until the current attack ends. There's a countdown timer for the complete combustion state that appears in the action order bar. When the countdown timer's turn starts, Sam will exit the complete combustion state, and the countdown timer has a fixed speed of 70. The enhanced basic attack will restore HP by an amount equal to 20% of this unit's max HP and deal fire damage based off Sam's attack to a designated enemy. The enhanced skill will restore HP by an amount equal to 25% of the unit's max HP, apply fire weakness to one designated enemy for 2 turns, and then deals fire damage equal to 0.2 times break effect plus 200% of Sam's attack to this target. At the same time, deals fire damage equal to 0.1 times break effect plus to 100% of Sam's attack to adjacent targets, and the break effect taken into account is capped at 360. Her talent will lower the damage she receives by the lower HP she does have. When HP reaches 20% or lower, the damage reduction will reach the maximum effect of 40%. During complete combustion, the damage reduction remains at its maximum effect, and effect res is increased by 30%. If you have 50% or lower energy going into battle, you will regenerate up to 50% of max energy, and reaching max energy will dispel all debuffs on this unit. Her technique leaps into the air and moves freely for about 5 seconds, which can be ended early by launching a plunging attack. When the duration ends, plunges immediately and attacks all enemies within a set area. At the start of each wave, applies fire weakness to all enemies for 2 turns, and then will deal fire damage equal to 200% of Sam's attack to all enemies. Her A2 during the complete combustion, attacking enemies that have no fire weakness can also reduce their toughness, with the effect being equivalent to 55% of the original toughness reduction from abilities. A4 when Sam is in complete combustion with a break effect that is equal to or greater than 200%/360%, attacking a weakness broken enemy target will convert the toughness reduction of this attack to an instance of 35%/50% super break damage. Enter A6 for every 10 points of Sam's attack that exceeds 1800, increases this unit's break effect by 0.8%. And then for Eidolons, E1 when using enhanced skill ignores 50% of the target's defense, and the enhanced skill does not consume skill points. Her E2 when in complete combustion, when using enhanced basic attack or enhanced skill to defeat an enemy target or break their weakness, allows Sam to immediately gain an extra turn and can trigger again after 1 turn. E4 increases Sam's effect res by 50% in complete combustion, and E6, while in complete combustion, increases Sam's fire res pen by 20%. When using enhanced basic attack or enhanced skill, increases weakness break efficiency by 50%. For Lightcones, her best one is still going to be her own signature Lightcone, providing the wearer a 60% increase to break effect. When the wearer deals break damage to an enemy target, inflicts routed on the enemy lasting for 2 turns. Targets afflicted with routed receive 24% increased break damage from the wearer, and their speed is lowered by 20%. Effects of the same type cannot stack. There's not so many sources that increase break characters' overall damage. One of them is obviously break effect, and then getting more speed to act more. Obviously, Firefly has a case of attack specifically, and then there's also break damage and defense ignore/shred. This Lightcone provides 60% break effect, which is going to be really good, and also 24% increase of break damage to the enemy target. 2 sources that's going to be overall good for her damage, and she's not really working with too many Lightcone options, so of course her signature is her best. The 20% speed lower can be good, only really something you notice in sustainless runs because it makes enemies attack less. But in sustained runs, it's not really going to matter. So providing 60% break effect, 24% increased break damage is going to make Firefly do a good amount of damage. And if you are running sustainless, the 20% speed lower on enemies is going to be nice, which makes her Lightcone still her best option. A newer sided option she can actually use is Fine on Signature Lightcone, which increases the wearer's base speed by 12. When dealing damage, ignores 18% of the target's defense. And the Blazing Sun that gives you 60% increase to damage dealt for 1 turn is useless on her, since you'll get it for really literally one attack, and after you use it, it's gone, and it's not like it impacts super break damage anyways, unfortunately, so it's a relatively worthless extra part. The reason this Lightcone is actually really good on her is, one, the base speed increase is great because base speed increases in this game are really good. Since the more base speed you have, the more stuff like speed percentage buffs will help you with. On top of that, 18% defense ignore, like I already mentioned, defense ignore is one of the only sources for damage increases, so these two are actually really good. But another thing is, when you do have this Lightcone at level 80, you see it has 687 base attack. This is the Lightcone with the highest base attack in the game, far and none. And since she is able to convert attack to break effect, getting a high base attack Lightcone can actually be beneficial, as long as it's providing something else, which this Lightcone is providing 12 base speed and 18% defense ignore. So that combined with 687 base attack is going to be really good, making it her actual second best option to use. Another Lightcone you can use is the Herder Shop Lightcone. When the wearer attacks, increases their attack by 8% in the battle, that stacks up to 4 times. After the wearer breaks an enemy's weakness, damage dealt increases by 12% for 2 turns, and at S5, 16% attack per stack and 24% damage dealt. Again, the damage dealt part is kind of whatever. Even though she can easily activate it, it's not really going to be anything for her damage. It's mainly for the big attack percent increase you can get, because once again, in her base kit, she's able to convert attack to break effect, and this Lightcone, when it's fully stacked, can give you up to a 64% increase to attack, which is really high. So this can be a good conversion to break effect thanks to her base kit. Another Lightcone you can use is the Indelible Promise Lightcone, which does increase the wearer's break effect by 28%, and that's it. The last part increases crit rate, which is useless. It's really just because at S5, it's a 56% increase to break effect, which is almost as much as her signature, and the base attack is alright. It's not like crazy, but it's fine for a 4-star especially, so that's really the only reason it's usable. This is really only the option you would use if you don't have her signature. Finon's Lightcone, obviously either you don't own it or it's on Finon himself and you're using him. And maybe the Herder Shop Lightcone is used on someone else. That's the only time you would ever use this Lightcone. For relic sets, the only one you want to really use is 4-piece Iron Cavalry, 2-piece increasing break effect by 16%. 4-piece, if the wearer's break effect is 150% or higher, the break damage dealt to the enemy target ignores 10% of their defense, and if they have 250% or higher break effect, the super break damage dealt to the enemy target additionally ignores 15% of their defense. Break effect from the 2-piece is going to be helpful, and reaching 250% or higher break effect for the full value of defense ignores for regular break damage and super break damage should be no problem, as you want to hit 360% or higher in battle anyways for her base trace. So it just becomes free defense ignore values, which once again is really good for these break characters, especially when you're combining it with other sources, such as having her E1, Ruan Mei's E1, so on and so forth. This is really the only 4-piece relic set you want to use, especially now, because before you could use something like 4-piece Thief, which you still technically can, but it's just a damage drop off, and nowadays you want to get as much damage as possible. So you really just want to use 4-piece Iron Cavalry. And then for relic sets, it's still really just using the Forge set, nothing else really, because it gives 6% speed, which is good, and up to 40% increase to break effect when hitting an enemy target that has fire weakness for 1 turn, which Firefly is able to implant fire weakness anyway, so you practically are able to permanently have this up. So a permanent 6% increase to speed and 40% increase to break effect does triumph every other option she does have. The closest next option would be the Talia set, which provides up to 36% increase to break effect, which is just worse than Forge since it doesn't really have a requirement that's too bad because 145 speed is easy. This would be something you'd use on other characters, especially that don't really implant anything or don't implant fire weakness, since Firefly is like the only one that does that. But since Firefly can implant the fire weakness, there's no point in using Talia over Forge, making Forge your best in slot still and the only one you want to use. For the main stats on the relics, for the body, you want to run attack percent, for the feet, you want to run speed, for the orb, you want attack percent, and for the link rope, you want break effect. For the substats, first prioritize speed, ideally just get as much as you can. The goal of reaching around 210 speed in battle within complete combustion is still a relative goal to hit, so having around 150 speed before battle will net you having the 210 speed requirement, so it's really easy to build overall. There's also the 10% speed buff from Ruan Mei, which can translate to a good amount of speed as well, and we are about to get the release of the Dahlia, which is Firefly's best teammate, who does provide 30% speed that Firefly is able to constantly refresh, so that's something you can consider in battle as well. So the speed values would depend. If you just want to get as much speed as possible, you can still just aim to get hyperspeed or more. Aiming for 150 alone is good. If you want to get it to 165 before battle, that's also great for complete combustion alone. But again, account for the 10% speed buff from Ruan Mei in battle and or the Dahlia buff, or both. It really depends on the teams you are going to run. Past that, it's focus on break effect and focus on attack. Attack does get converted to break effect thanks to her base kit, but focusing on break effect is obviously going to be better on its own, as you will get more. She doesn't have a limit to the amount of break effect she can convert. It's just for every 10 above 1800, so you can really just get as much attack as you can. If you're able to focus on more break effect stats on your pieces, that's good, and then have some attack on the side. Most average Firefly builds do have around 2400 attack, so if you want to run that as your benchmark for attack, that can be the amount you do aim for. Break effect, just be sure to reach 360% or higher in battle. That's accounting for anyone else's buffs. Again, the Dahlia is going to be able to buff break effect based off her own. If you can, Ruan may provide some. Firefly gains more with the conversion in battle, so you want to account for all these things. Just be sure you have over 360% in battle to get the full effect of the super break conversion she does have in her kit as well. And then for some general team building ideas, I don't have Firefly on my account, so pretend Himeko here is Firefly. The teams haven't really changed too much. The only new change that's about to come up is going to be the Dahlia on these teams. So to account for the Dahlia, I'm just going to have 3 units on the team here. So the new team you're going to run is Firefly herself, the Dahlia, and you're also going to still run Fugue, especially if you do have E1 Fugue, but even if you don't, it would look like that. And last slot would go for Linksha, just because the Dahlia does have a trace that you need to refresh with healing. And because of that trace, you want to use Linksha, but you also still can use someone like a Gallagher, especially if you do need skill point generation. Either of the two do work, but in this case, I'm going to use Linksha. So it's a full fire team, Firefly, Fugue, Linksha, and the Dahlia. If you want to run Sustainless with the Dahlia, the last slot, again, imagine that's the Dahlia, you would go ahead and put either Ruan Mei still. I don't have my Trailblazer set to Harmony, but you can use Harmony Trailblazer, but in this example, I'm just going to put Ruan Mei. You can do either or. So it would be Firefly, Fugue, the Dahlia, and Ruan Mei, or Harmony MC. And then the existing Sustainless team would just be this team I have right here. And then again, pretend Himeko is Firefly. The last slot would go to the Harmony MC. Again, my Trailblazer is set to Remembrance, but pretend it is Harmony MC. So the team would be this: Firefly, Fugue, Ruan Mei, and Harmony MC. And then if you're running a sustained version of an existing team without the Dahlia, you would sub out mainly Ruan Mei here, or Linksha or Gallagher, and you would be good to go. And that does wrap up the 3.8 updated Firefly guide. I do hope you found this video helpful. If you did, dropping a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new to the channel or haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all types of style content. Check the description to check out my Archives channel, and I'll see you later. Peace out.